Hi, Mary Chesborough Lee.
And Elon Lee.
Came to Wisconsin before it was a state. There was quite a few people coming. My husband Nelson and I, Nelson Lee, came here to Walworth County. But before I tell you about that, as I said, I was from New York, and I had a sister who was happened to be deaf, and it so touched my heart, and I wanted to do something to help her because we were so close. But I actually went to the city of New York. Now, can you imagine? And arranged to have a teacher for her. And she went there and was taught. And I just wouldn't, stay at home and be the wildflower that a lot of ladies were. I just didn't see the reason for it. Once my husband Nelson and I moved to Wisconsin, and we were farmers, and I didn't sit in the house then either. I like to get out there and help my husband be successful. And we worked. Then not too long after we came here, my parents came. And they bought a farm also. They lived not too far from here, just west of here actually, in Darien Township. And my sister also lived there with them. And I had two children. One was George and one was Elon. And then the Civil War broke out, which affected us all, of course. And I was busy on my farm helping my husband, but then a group of ladies got together and said, what can we do for helping in the Civil War? Because, of course, it's all our duties to do something to help our boys in blue. So we started knitting socks and making undershirts and pickling things and sending them down south to make sure our sons and husbands had things to eat and wear. So we heard letters from them that things just weren't getting to them. We found out, unbelievably, that some of the soldiers were commandeering these supplies. Well, we couldn't have that. We made it for our boys from Walworth County. So I decided, I volunteered, and it was a tough decision to leave here and go there. I had never been down south and reading all the stories, but someone had to do it. I volunteered. I make it all the way down to Kentucky. Can you imagine? I went by boat down the Mississippi. It was such an arduous voyage, journey. I got down to Elizabethtown, Kentucky, and there, lo and behold, I found my son, Eli, ill. You were so ill, weren't you, Eli?
Yes, I'd taken down with consumption-like sickness. And, I enlisted in September of '61 with Company A of the 10th Wisconsin, which was out of Camp Holton in Milwaukee. And mustered in October, went through training, then from there went to Louisville, Kentucky. We arrived there early November. Then from there we went to Shepherdstown. And then in early December we went to Elizabethtown.
And thank God he had been writing.
And in Elizabethtown, that's where I came down with sickness and ended up in the hospital. And I had wrote my mother that I was sick. I was very sick at the time. And she came down and she helped nurse me back to health.
Oh, and thank goodness, because it was just appalling. The conditions were absolutely appalling.
And in March 24th, they discharged me from the service.
Thank goodness.
And then I was well enough to travel and came back to Wisconsin. And my mother, well, she stayed down there and helped at the hospital. And
I only thought, as a mother, it was my duty to do that. You would not believe the things going on down there to our sons and husbands. It was just awful. And so I stayed there, and I did make many trips back here, of course, to get more supplies, because they just didn't have the clothes or the food. It was just terrible, and the bugs. It was just awful. It was just awful.
And while she was doing that, I was back home here, totally recovering and working on the farm. Then fall of '64, I decided I'm going to go on to school, and went to the old University of Chicago in March of '64. And the old university was right next to Camp Douglas, which was a training camp and also a prisoner of war camp. And I could hear them out there drilling and see them drilling, and brought back a lot of memories. And really upset me that I couldn't continue with my service with the 10th. Well, in April they started looking for recruits for a 100-day recruitment to bolster up the she wasn't very happy about it, but
Not at all happy.
I ended up joining the 134th Illinois Infantry.
You think
for 100 days.
he served enough? He almost died down in Kentucky.
and mustered in April. We were on garrison duty in Kentucky again, and then when my time was up, which was in October, I mustered out and came back to school. And one thing I noticed when we got back to school, the number of prisoners at the prisoner of war camp had grown to over 12,000 prisoners. And I continued my studies.
Thank God.
And then later on in life went to become the superintendent of the Delavan school system.
Now, I being the mother that I am, as you can tell, I really cared about my son Elon. And I also had a son George, but this Elon. But I mentioned my sister a little bit, that she was deaf and that she had some schooling in New York City. Well, when my parents moved out here, of course, they brought my sister. And there wasn't, of course, Delavan area, Elkhorn area was quite small at that time. They didn't have any teachers for the non-hearing. So we contacted a teacher from New York that we knew, and he did come out here. And things progressed. My father, Ebenezer, and I petitioned and secured secured, thank goodness, a school in this area for the deaf. Because there was a few more. There was actually 2 families here that had deaf kids. So I'm just so happy we did that. Because they need schooling too. I don't care what they call them. They're not dumb. It's just amazing now. You know, the school that the state's going to put here. We were really a successful farm. It was just great, and then to see my son be school superintendent, oh, glorious, glorious. So that's the life.
It's on my mother's side,
Probably.
and it's through the Cheeseboro. Of course, it's spelled O-U-G-H, but then it slowly changed through the years. And yeah, I was really surprised. I found that out last year. I had the book because I was doing some other, and there is a Lee Cheeseboro, and I think he's out in New York that is maintaining the lineage.
Yeah.
So I get in touch with him once in a while. He says, you know, save up about 5 years of marriages and births and things like that. Don't hit me with each one. You know, but, no, I was really surprised.
Yeah. I'm assuming there's a lot of area here. I would assume that Nelson and is buried here and